Good morning. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome to another Monday morning motivation. We love starting the week with these. Good morning, Vicky. So, if you're here, please say hello, and I will follow along as best I can as I talk here. I was just giving some thought. Hello, Madonna. How are you? Um, yes. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all of those who have served our country and their families as well. Thank you, Madonna, for that. Hello, Linda, Denise, another Linda. So, good morning, everyone. So, here we are on Monday morning. Hello, Marie. And I was thinking a lot about, I know that, there's so many thoughts we've talked about on these, and I know Jess does a great job with this and always giving us some food for thought for the week. And I just really thought, um, hey, good morning, Carrie. Um, I want to talk a little bit about mindset because I think how we go into the new week can really set us up for, or set the week up for what it's going to be like. So, our minds are super powerful, and I find myself saying this a lot, not just to members of this community, but to myself. What we focus on is what usually happens, or, is kind of where we steer towards and all the things. And there's so much power in our minds. So, um, trying to be present in today, right, rather than thinking about what happened yesterday or what could have been done differently, or worrying about how you're going to do something tomorrow or how you're going to get through something, because truly all we really need to worry about is this moment and what's the next step we're going to take. And this can apply to many different things. Obviously, decluttering is one of them. I've seen breaking things down into small, doable steps like that feel manageable has transformed people's journeys on this in decluttering. But this is so true for life in general, right? What can we control? We can control the very next step we take, the very next plan we have. And thanks, Kathy. Truly, seriously, like it's hard, right? This is a practice. But if you're worrying about what's going to happen 4 days from now, how are you possibly supposed to give or be able to give the most to today or this moment? And that's for you, that's for others, that's for your work. I mean, it's every area of your life, right? So, how can we bring ourselves into the present moment and push aside, and I'm not saying ignore or get rid of completely. Like, obviously, there are things there, and there are things that weigh on our minds, no doubt, right? But what can we do in this moment to get closer to a success in whatever that thing is, whether it's a goal or, an appointment we're not looking forward to? Like, what's your control in this moment? Hello, Mitzi. If you have something coming up, let's just say Friday, it could be an appointment, a presentation, an exam, something at work that has, a deadline at work, or whatever the case may be, right? What can you do today to ensure that that goes well? Some things you can control in that, and some you can't. So, thinking about what you can and taking the steps that you can control, because when we dwell on what we can't control, it of course increases frustration, right? Because there's nothing you can do to change that. But what you can do is figure out, maybe it's a distraction, maybe it's taking up a hobby or doing something fun so that you have a more positive experience leading up to this thing. Or maybe it's actually breaking down the work you need to do for that goal in today. What's the step today? Because without today's step, you can't do tomorrow's step. So what is the absolute best next step? And that is what I always like to break things down into, because a lot of times we set goals as humans that are massive, right? We have these big goals. And so if it's a deadline or an appointment or something like that, then yes, it's timed and we know exactly when this thing is happening, and we can break it down into the parts that have to happen today, tomorrow, the next day to get to that point, right? But when it's a big goal, and this can be anything, it can be decluttering, it can be a new hobby, or a sport or a skill that we're trying to master. It can be health related, all the goals that we try to set as far as nutrition and fitness and even mindset, right? A mindful practice. They all take time. We're not going to go from today to like master tomorrow, right? So, what is that one thing? And that's what I kind of want you to think about today. Give some thought to something you've been working towards. And of course, it can be decluttering. This absolutely applies. But what would you love to see happen by the end of the week? Sometimes those are not fully realistic, yet it's still the anchor that the thing that you're working towards. So figuring out the best next step is still possible, right? So back it up, like go work backwards and decide what can I do today to ensure that I'm moving towards that goal. And don't worry about anything else until that step that you've identified is complete. And then you can think about the next step. Because this frees up our mind. It frees up a lot. It helps with mental clarity, it helps with decision making, it helps with productivity. There is nothing negative about doing this. Now, there may be a situation that I'm not thinking of that really does require a well thought out plan longer than just today. And that's okay too. You still want to then bring yourself back to like the very beginning first step. So I love using this strategy for really anything, because especially when you're working up against a monumental goal, good morning, DA, that seems overwhelming, this strategy actually will reduce that overwhelm. It really can. If you can truly bring yourself into the present moment, the present day, and say, okay, what's my goal? What's my plan? What are my actions for today? And don't worry about your actions for the next day. Just worry about your actions for the day, because you will definitely do better at those than if you had been thinking about the goal as a whole. Because that overwhelm really does squash action. It really can. Our minds, like I said, I started with so powerful. So not worrying about yesterday, not worrying about tomorrow, worrying about today, and what are the action steps you can take, because you can have a plan, you can have a vision, but if you don't have the actions in place, then that vision can become kind of discouraging, um, because you're not really sure where to take it, where to go from here, kind of thing. Um, Thanks, Mitzi. I do use this a lot in my coaching because I've seen the power of it. It is so powerful. So powerful. And if you really can break it down, when you've gotten there is when you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's no problem. And you actually are excited to get it done. That's when I mean, you might, I say excited to get it done, motivated. Like you might still be like, oh, do I really have to do this? Yet you've identified a step that's actually feels doable. That doesn't feel like too hard, if that makes sense. So if anybody has any questions or thoughts on that you want to share, if you've tried this and it has worked, if it hasn't worked, or anything along the lines of this, but truly remembering that your mind is super powerful. And if you can give it the space to only focus on one little thing at a time, you're doing yourselves a huge favor. So think about that going into this week. Sure, we all have a goal we can identify. What are the steps? What are the smaller steps? Because really the next step is all that matters, right? What is that best next step? And whatever group you're in of ours, if you're in our It's All Clutter or our CBA group or our Business Clutter Boss page, we'd love to hear. I always like reading these, how this resonates with you, if it does. and use it as a plan to reach your goals. Every step you take moves you closer, and that's the goal. That's the key, right? Not to stay inactive or be, let the overwhelm take over. So I hope this helps going into your new week. It's a Monday, it's a new day, a new week. And, take some time to plan this out and think about what this looks like. All right. Yes, the best next step. What is that? Yep, absolutely the key. So I know you all can do the next step. It's just identifying what that is. And if it seems overwhelming, continue to break it down until you reach the point where you're like, oh, that's doable. And then you've got it. And then you can accomplish that today and move on to the very next thing. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope you're able to implement this. And I'd love to hear how it works for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. Have a good one.